If going nuclear on black parties was a person, the former Secretary General of the MK Party is it. In this video, I'm going to show you just the most shocking things he said just after getting fired from the organization. And if you stay till the end to my biblical reaction, I think you're going to leave this video with some hope. I know it's getting loud, but South Africa will prosper. If you're ready for that, press like and let's hear what he had to say.
The reason given international officials for my deployment or removal as Secretary General was that I want to overthrow President Zuma as the president of Mkondo Sizwe. That is what I said. That all the work that we're doing as Secretary General of establishing structures and identifying leaders was meant ultimately at the removal of President Zuma as president of Mkondo Sizwe. And as part of that reasoning, intelligence report was produced, which was claimed to be a conversation between me and some people in the African continent, where it is alleged that despite raising money to remove President Zuma, I'm also accumulating supernatural powers to make people disappear. That is the reason why we got to, so we had to deal with superstitious issues as the basis of what happens. That there's apparently a head which I was going to be given to give to someone, and some people were going to die so that I can become president of Mkondo Sizwe. That was the intelligence report, which were rejected with contempt and said that that is absolute rubbish. We accepted the redeployment to parliament with those misgivings that we're going to make people disappear in order to take over the leadership of Mkondo Sizwe. And in a subsequent meeting post that, another fake report was presented which claims to be WhatsApp conversations between me and someone else, where I'm reported to be saying that, yeah, I'm going to use parliament now to take over the party. And I've got money from Stellenbosch who are going to take over the party through parliament. They are taking me closer to where we're going to take power. Those are actual facts. So the president of Mkondo Sizwe, whom I dearly and so deeply respect, is surrounded by political scoundrels who opportunistically use his kindness, sometimes gullibility that comes with age, to write down fake intelligence report to influence him towards wrong directions. And the reason they do that is because they want to steal money of Mkondo Sizwe. And they are doing so now. Withdrawal of not less than 7 million rand every month from the organizational coffers. That is what defines, and that is what, and we're talking about this because we raised it internally, that stop what you are doing, because you're going to get the party deregistered as a political party to then deal with scoundrels who surround President Zuma to steal money of the organization. And a substantial number of those say that don't ever try to join the ANC, and I fully agree with them. That will never join the ANC. It's directionless, it doesn't know what it's doing, it's in collaboration with the white system now. And there are those who say don't ever join or rejoin the Economic Freedom Fighters because it's a cult. And I agree with them. There is no space for sound ideological reasoning, and there's no self-respecting person who can join both the ANC and the EFF. I agree with that fully. And there are those who say that there's fundamental weaknesses with Mkondo Sizwe, that the organization seems to be run by a family. So a political party should never be an individual project where you feel like, no, I want to start a political party and then you start it. A political party must not be a platform for self-enrichment. It must not be a fiefdom. It must not be a cult. I have not resigned from controversies, and I will never resign from controversies. I'm a member of controversies. Don't do things that you don't believe in. And don't associate with projects that you don't believe in. Never ever sacrifice principle on the altar of political convenience. If principle is broken, you disassociate from it, and decisively so. But in doing so, sometimes you must be considerate of some of the personal circumstances of some of the people that you're dealing with. These things of, yeah, I'm just there because I'm there for salary purposes and for income. What do we do? Go to leaders of the ANC on the corners and say, but what is this thing that they're doing? They'll tell you that that Ramaphosa is nonsense. That Ramaphosa is misleading us. But they won't tell him. Go to EFF people and they will tell you their own characterization of the leader of the organization and what is happening there. But they don't have the courage to tell him. Same in MK. Even against all odds, there's an opportunity to raise an issue about wrongdoing. I would speak and clearly speak against the untouchables there. People who take drugs and tweet at night and insult us. And we'll confront them and say, what is this about? Check the conduct of EFF in government and what gets to legitimate such. I will never trust a person who knew that the deputy president is leaving and then they isolate Mbuyiseni on the basis that he knew that I'm leaving. It's not only Mbuyiseni, those comrades knew, we discussed it and we reached the same conclusion that we're not being fair to society if we say that this comrade can lead this country. All of us agreed with the people who are leading EFF now. That is basically, that is the reality of the situation. The people who are leading EFF now, all of us were unanimous. I'm not starting any solo project. We must stop these things that political parties are personal projects, like a music band, Brenda Fassie and the Black Dudes. That if Brenda Fassie is not there, the Black Dudes can operate. In the minutes of the National High Command is that President Zuma is going to mediate a discussion between Western Sahara Liberation Forces and Morocco to find a settlement. It has been going in for a very long time. But after, immediately we leave because they couldn't do that in our presence, obviously. They couldn't. Then they saw an opportunity that, yeah, now we're going to maybe press that jukebox or to sing for us. And then and you can see that statement, which is issued in the name of MK, is written by the Moroccan embassy here in South Africa, to impose a position on MK on the basis that there will be money exchanges. And that is what happens. Also, even with this, you remember when we did a press conference, Muslim Judicial Council. So part of this conference, they go to speak to the Muslim Judicial Council and say, please go and speak to President Zuma, say to him that he must remove the SG, and that is the only basis he will give money. And that is going to cause us problems. So you must expel him so that we can give him condolences of money. That is so there is transactional issues that also guide decisions and policy that we deal with in terms of it's not the first time. Like my membership of the ANC, I was not even expelled in the ANC, I was suspended. And I left. This thing of political parties thinking that people are desperate for their membership must come to an end. And that people must beg for membership. If anything, political parties must be honored that they've got members and respect them. Not that you must be begging for membership of a political organization. I left the ANC when it was above 63% in parliament and control of all provinces, was possibly the only employer. I left I left the ANC voluntarily when it had power. Why would I be perturbed about being expelled by Mkondo who doesn't have power? Like, what will be like? That is the issue. I don't beg membership of political organizations. We are availing ourselves to be at service. We are servants of the people who want to listen. If the guidance is that we must form a political party, we are going to do it decisively.
So then Floyd, of course, says he's starting his own black party. So please look at your skin. If it looks like my color, you must know that you are represented by the ANC. Wait, by the EFF. Wait, by the MK. No, by Floyd's new party. So if you are black, you have 4 black parties. All of them say different things, but they all represent you by birthright. You voted just because of the color of your skin. They speak for you. They say us. We think this. We feel like this. These are our interests. If you are black, you have 4 representatives. That means if you are black and you think you are represented by a party, you are what we call confused. So Floyd sings like a canary, like a bitter ex, but of course there's some elements of truth in, coming out like a bitter ex. He says Jacob Zuma's daughter is on drugs. He says Jacob Zuma steals, but he says I want to take Jacob Zuma's shine by saying I still respect Zuma while trashing his party. He says the ANC has no direction because it's with the white system. He says the EFF is a cult, and every leader in the EFF agrees that there is no way in hell that Julius Malema can ever be the leader of South Africa. And he's going off to do a national dialogue to ask people to tell him if he must start a party or not. So, of course, he's starting another black party. And this is why South Africa has been in collapse for so long. But I'm so glad, in fact, I talked about it in this video right here, that what we are watching is this black worship spirit falling apart before our very eyes. What do I mean by this race worship spirit? See, because our country turned around with Marxism, which was last useful in 1994. In 1994, the biggest mistake South Africa made was to vote for the ANC. What we should have done is give them gifts, give them thanks, give them lifetime retirement, and say, thank you guys, your mission ended today. Now we're not talking black-white, revolutionary, counter-revolution. We are talking prosperity strategy. But unfortunately, like a one-trick horse, once something works once, people are tempted to idolize it. And so that's what we have been suffering. Who exchanged the truth of God for the lie and worshipped and served the creature rather than the creator. Now, I'm not going to talk about you going to church. Good idea, though, if you want to join me Sunday, 11 a.m. I'm not talking about you starting to pray, but I'm talking nationally. This is what South Africa has done. Nationally, South Africa has begun to serve the creature rather than the creator. What do I mean by that? is that South Africa has forgotten what is right and wrong, what is good and bad, what is working or not working, what is making you broke and what is making you prosper. Because the ANC has got us to worship the creature. It's now black, white, no longer right, wrong. It's now oppressed, oppressor. It's no longer are jobs being created or are companies running away. It's no longer is this working or is this failing. It's are you coming against black economic empowerment or not? No, how about I'd like some economic empowerment. I'd like everyone in South Africa working and having a good job and being able to rise. Blacks are getting poorer, whites are getting poorer, coloreds are getting poorer, Indians are getting poorer, South Africans are getting poorer. And we have been brainwashed to think race, creature, instead of thinking right. We've been so brainwashed to think what's black instead of what works. Brainwashed by the black parties. Fourth one coming now. Fourth black party telling you that the failure of the last 30 years, the only problem is that the first failures were not as serious about this failing philosophy as I will be. That's where the EFF came. They said the first failures were not as radical as the new red failure. That didn't work. Then the third failure, the MK, came and said the first and second failure were not as orthodox as I am. But my failure will work. Now we've got Floyd saying the first three failures were not as principled as the new failure. It fails. Race-based politics are a failure because they reject economic principles that bring prosperity. They reject social principles that build unity. They reject principles of productivity. So don't vote black parties in 2029. Good thing they're falling apart on their own. What should you vote for? Green parties. For green people. With green South African passports. So, ring the bell. Let's see you in the comments below. I feel good seeing you again. So, no man can serve two masters because either you'll love the one or hate the other. Or you'll disrespect the one and respect the other. You cannot serve God, the author of Right, Wrong, Good, Bad, Successful and Failed, and Karl Marx, the author of Black, White, Revolutionary, Counter-Revolutionary, Oppressed, Oppressor. You can't serve both. So let's go with right, wrong, and let's go towards prosperity, and let's make history together. Tell someone to tell someone to tell someone. 2029, vote prosperity. Cheers.